So what happens when a YouTuber with millions of followers decides to prove that getting rich is actually easy? Well, today we're diving into this wild, high-stakes experiment that promised to make $1 million, but as you'll see, it ended up exposing a totally different kind of hustle.
Okay, so the idea here was simple. The kind of thing that's pretty much guaranteed to go viral. You've got this huge YouTuber, Whistlin' Diesel. His name's Cody. And he decides he's going to pull off this incredible financial stunt, all while the cameras are rolling.
But look, this wasn't just about the cash. Cody was on a mission to prove a point. The whole point of his video series was to show his massive audience that, hey, anyone can get crazy rich. You just have to be willing to work for it and stop being, well, in his words, lazy.
All right, so let's really get into it, because once the money started flying around, a very different story started to come out. So what was really going on behind the curtain of this $1 million challenge? So the video basically boils down to two main characters. It's this team-up between a complete beginner and a so-called expert, and yeah, they have very different ways of tackling this whole thing. So on one side, you've got Cody. He's playing the part of this clueless jokester, right? He's a car guy, totally out of his comfort zone here. And then on the other side, there's Alex. He's presented as one of the world's top trading gurus, who, oh, by the way, just happens to sell a pretty pricey course on how to trade just like him.
And, it really didn't take long at all for that whole hard work message to start falling apart at the seams.
This is where you really start to see this huge disconnect between the story they're telling and what's actually happening. I mean, for a video that's all about putting in the work, they make one trade and then take a 2-hour joyride in a supercar, all while talking about how they're just letting our money stack. It's something. So get this, Alex, the guru, he's super confident, right? He predicts their trade will be worth a whopping $400,000 if they just hang on for a few days. But they didn't. They cashed out early, making a profit of just $9 grand. Now don't get me wrong, that's a nice chunk of change, but it's a long way from $1 million.
So what about that big prediction, right? Even Cody asked him, how can you be so sure about this? And the guru's expert analysis was, I just know, bro. So the real question is, what did he actually know?
Well, turns out, not much. Not much at all. Someone ran a simulation of that exact same trade, holding it for just as long as Alex suggested. And the result? It would have been an absolute disaster. Forget making 400 grand, they would have lost almost everything. That one successful trade they made, it was pure high-stakes luck.
And that, of course, brings us back to the expert himself. I mean, if he's really this world-class trader, how is he actually making his money? How's he paying for that whole Bugatti lifestyle we see? When somebody finally asked him directly, Alex admitted that his main income, it doesn't come from his brilliant trading. Nope, it comes from teaching other people how to trade. He made $7.5 million in 4 years just from selling his courses. You know that old saying, right? In a gold rush, the ones who get rich are the ones selling the shovels.
And to make his trading skills seem even more legit, there are these accusations that Alex uses what are called simulated accounts. Basically, it means he might be trading with fake monopoly money, so he can show off these huge wins without ever actually risking a single real dollar. And the proof for this kind of comes from his own videos. You see, they have this very specific legal disclaimer buried in them, CFTC 4.41. And that rule is there for one reason. Regulators require it when you're showing simulated or hypothetical trading results. Now, Alex just kind of waves it off, saying it's a common disclaimer. But critics fire back and say, yeah, it's common, because faking trading records is common.
But believe it or not, the story gets even shadier. And it's all about the financial platforms that Alex pushes his thousands of students to use.
Okay, so he tells everyone to use this broker that he calls trusted. But it's located offshore in a tiny country. There's no public CEO or owner listed anywhere. It's actually banned from taking on US investors. And his advice for his American followers? Oh, just, get a VPN to get around the law. And the best part? When someone asked him who even owns this trusted company, he admitted he has no idea.
And before this shady broker, Alex was a huge cheerleader for a company called Rocket21. It's something called a prop firm. And let me tell you, these types of companies have a really bad reputation in the trading world.
So here's the really important part you need to understand. The entire business model for these firms is built on their customers failing. People pay a fee to take a challenge on a simulated account. The firm makes money when the traders fail and lose that fee. And if a trader actually wins, the firm has to pay them profits out of its own pocket.
So think about it. Their success literally depends on their traders, including Alex's own students, losing all their money.
And this is the absolute core of the problem. Alex finally admitted he wasn't just some guy promoting Rocket 21. He was a partial owner. Just let that sink in for a second. He was co-owning a company that made money when his own students, the same people paying him for lessons on how to win, lost their shirts.
All right, so let's bring this all full circle. How does all of this connect back to that original claim, that the only reason people don't get rich is because they're lazy? The irony here is just, it's almost too perfect to believe. This whole thing was set up as a big lesson against being lazy, but just a little bit of homework, the tiniest bit of research, would have uncovered the super sketchy background of the guru they partnered with. So in the end, the video that was supposed to be about other people's laziness was actually a massive product of their own.
And really, that's the big question this whole mess leaves us with, isn't it? When an influencer promotes easy money, who is really the one getting rich? The next time you see someone online flashing a lavish lifestyle and promising a simple path to wealth, it's always worth asking, are they selling a dream or are they just selling you?